Welcome back to It's Personal, brought to you by Gunderson Health System. I'm Chris Stauffer. Holiday eating is already upon us. There's holiday parties, there's Thanksgiving, there's Christmas, and everything in between, like leftovers. And for those of us who go into these situations worried about our waistline and how our waistline's going to look after the holidays, we thought we'd bring somebody in to talk a little bit more about it. So we're turning to Cindy Solis. She's a registered dietitian with our nutrition therapy department. Thanks for joining us.
I'm glad to be here.
So let's talk about holiday parties. We need some tips because there's parties for this, that, and the other thing. It might even be a work party. But how do you go into it? What's the game plan going into, well, the holiday season, but maybe specifically a holiday party?
The first tip I'm going to give you, you might be a little surprised, but give yourself permission to indulge.
Okay.
One of the easiest ways to so-called blow it is by trying to restrict yourself too much.
Okay.
And while I say give yourself permission to indulge, still be picky about it. So if you're at a holiday party and you pick up some treats on your plate that you don't like, you shouldn't feel forced or pressured to finish your whole plate or eat all of your food. It's okay to leave the things that you're not enjoying so much.
So I grew up in the clean your plate club. You know, my parents were, hey, you're not leaving the dinner table before you clean your plate. Not a great idea.
No, that's not a great idea.
All right.
Really enjoy the foods that you want and give yourself permission to leave the ones you don't enjoy so much there.
I mean, after all, that's why it is a party, right? Food is a big part of it for a lot of us here in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit, if you would, about some things maybe you should look for if you are going to a holiday party, things that might be maybe a little bit more healthy, things that maybe you would look for as a registered dietitian going, maybe focus on the veggies a little bit, although that's not maybe as fun.
Yeah, well, that's a good idea. Usually at holiday parties, you'll find the things like the veggie trays and the fruit trays, and it's good to balance your meal with those things. But even as a registered dietitian, I'm still going to take a slice of the pumpkin pie or the apple pie or enjoy some of those things too. But definitely still trying to be mindful of that balance, so incorporating the fruits and veggies.
Yeah, so I think the challenge for a lot of us is that you have that one slice of pie, but then the pie is sitting there and there's leftovers an hour or 2 hours later or in the middle of the night. How do you get around that?
So that brings up another good point that a lot of times I like to take about 10 minutes or a little longer after I have my first helping and just kind of let it settle and then decide, do I really feel like having seconds?
A little time.
Yep, take some time and even considering going for a walk. So there's other ways to enjoy the holiday season without having the entire focus be around food.
I think for a lot of us at Thanksgiving, it's football and laying on the couch with a nap instead. But a walk does seem like a good idea. Take the dog out, take the relatives out. And most people are motivated. If you say you're going to go out for a walk, most people will, at least consider coming along for
Absolutely.
that. Yeah, so a little exercise burns some of those additional calories. So let's talk about kind of going into, for example, Thanksgiving Day. So we know we're going to have the big meal. Let's say it's in the afternoon. It might be 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, or noon. How do you wake up in the morning? Or, I know some people say, I'm going to save my calories for that big meal and just blow it all at that one big meal. I think I've heard you say in the past that might not be the greatest idea. Can you explain?
Yes. So it's important to still be respectful of your hunger and your fullness. Respect your body. So when you wake up in the morning and you know you're having a bigger meal later, don't deprive yourself. Still have your normal balanced breakfast. And then when that mealtime comes, you can enjoy it, but you're not feeling like you starved yourself, because we know that when we deprive ourselves, we're more likely to overindulge, eat too quickly, and eat too much.
Skipping breakfast is just a bad idea altogether.
It is.
Yeah, and it makes it, I've heard you say in the past that at night, if you skip breakfast in the morning, at night your body is trying to find some calories to get you through the morning hours.
Yeah, that can happen too. You really need to start your day off right by getting your metabolism going at breakfast time in the morning.
And it doesn't always take a lot.
No. If you're one to not really feel all that hungry in the morning, even just a slice of toast with a little peanut butter or a piece of fruit something is going to be better than nothing.
All right. We're talking with Cindy Solis. She's a registered dietitian at Gunderson Health System about holiday eating. It's upon us, and frankly, some of us get concerned as we go in because we're worried about what that's going to mean come January 1st and all the work that we have to do. But really kind of coming up with a game plan over the holidays is really kind of a good idea. Can you talk about coming up with a game plan over the holidays, because we do have a lot of us have a lot of different events to attend, and there's going to be alcohol there, for example, and trying to find a way to balance it all is the challenge.
Yeah. One thing I would recommend is don't overextend yourself. Think about the holiday parties that you have planned for this season, and is it realistic for you to make it to all of those? And when you do make it to those holiday parties, yes, some of them are going to have alcohol. And then having a plan going into that, knowing that it's a good idea to rotate the alcoholic beverages with water. Not only will that help keep you hydrated, but that should help prevent you from overdoing it on the alcohol as well.
All right. They call that a spacer, I think. So you have a drink and then you have water and maybe another beverage afterwards. But I know some people say, I'm not going to drink anything after a certain time period, and it gives them a chance to, recover, if you will, before they have to travel or whatnot. But of course, having a designated driver is always a great idea. Last question really for you is more about the party givers, the host. What kind of options should they consider for, obviously we know what's going to be at Thanksgiving, but for, let's say, holiday parties, what kind of options should they have out there to consider all their guests?
That's a good question, because some of your guests might have food allergies or intolerances. So it's a good idea to be aware of some of those things going into the holiday
asking
party.
the question might be a good idea. Okay.
Yep. So we're finding quite a few people are following a gluten-free diet, and maybe that's something that they have to do. It's based on a condition. So having some gluten-free options wouldn't be a bad idea. And then, of course, there's certain allergies that are very common, like nut allergies too. So knowing if any of your guests have something like that going on, so you can be prepared and to prep that food accordingly.
Beyond allergies, do you think, we talk about the veggie tray, we talk about options like that. Is that a good idea? It seems kind of a simple idea to just have something like that, make sure that there is a healthy option for those people who maybe have come from a holiday party earlier in the day. Yeah,
that's a really good idea, to have some of those lighter and more nutritious options available too.
Okay. And then, of course, beverages too that are non-alcoholic are always a great option for those holiday parties too. Cindy, we want to wish you a happy holiday season. We really appreciate your time here on It's Personal.
Thank you for having me.
Cindy Solis, registered dietitian, nutrition therapy at Gunderson Health System. And by the way, you can always stop into nutrition therapy and get a consultation. I'm sure that they'd be able to help you out, either making a holiday plan or maybe making a plan as you head into the new year as well.